Welcome to the Girl Gang. I'm Katrina Gardner of Katrina and Create.
And I'm Dominique Goyette-Connerty of Evergreen Marketing. On this show, we're going to chat with women business owners in Massachusetts and those who support local women in business.
Because girls don't just want to have fun. They also want to sell real estate.
They want to open a brewery.
They want to teach others to invest in the stock market.
They want to take stunning photos, plan lavish parties, and help people recover from injuries.
Girls just want a podcast.
What can we say?
We're girls.
Okay, welcome to Girls Just Wanna, the podcast. Sponsored by Dunkin'. Just kidding, but we wish.
If anyone wants to pay us to do this podcast, Dunkin'?
Our line is open. Mm-hmm. Our DMs are open. Our email is open.
Yep.
Even if you just want to sponsor $10 for us to buy coffee on our way to the podcast, we would take it.
So I have been looking into like the different options, and there's this website called Coffee.
Okay.
And you can buy
sold.
a coffee.
Oh, I'm sold.
It's like KOFI.
Okay, stop trying to be hipster with the spelling of coffee.
It's not me.
No, just in general.
But yeah, it's like...
I'm assuming coffee.com, the real way it's spelled, was probably already taken.
But if we do a Patreon, like my first tier was going to be like, buy us a coffee. Like just a $5. Like, we need the caffeine to do this, so thank you for supporting.
$5? That'll only buy my coffee. What are you going to do? Where is your Diet Coke money going to come from? Diet Coke doesn't grow on trees, Katrina.
It does not. Not at all.
I will say, Katrina bought me this coffee, actually, because if you recall from...
Out of the kindness of my heart,
well,
no other reason.
Now that's a face you can zoom in on. Well, if you recall, was it 2 episodes ago now? I had taken a freaking 7 a.m. workout class, showered, got ready, came here, got a coffee on my way.
Needed caffeine.
Needed caffeine, more than I've ever needed caffeine in my whole life. Show up, Katrina just karate chops my coffee in half or something. I was like, half asleep. I don't
ripped
remember.
The table out from under it.
No, she did the magician's trick where you pull the tablecloth but you're not good at it, so everything on the table just went everywhere.
I thought I could move a table without the large coffee.
And you know what? I forgive you now. Not because you bought me the coffee, but honestly, after that day was over, I already forgave you.
Okay, good.
In the moment, I've been holding the grudge for 3 weeks.
You're like, finally.
No, I did forget about it up until when you asked me this morning, what's your coffee order? And I was like, LOL. Remember that time?
Well, I was like, I have to do it because I told you after I dropped it. I'm like, I'll buy you one. You're like, it's fine.
I go, no.
You're like, I don't want your pity coffee.
Yeah, so, although not in fairness, just somewhat related, was when we were renovating the kickboxing studio, and if Kat or literally anyone else from kickboxing is listening, we were renovating the studio, and the first day I'm there helping with the primer. And I left my little primer, like, handheld bucket on top of the ladder.
Uh-huh.
And then I went to scoot the ladder, forgetting that I left the primer bucket up there, which, like, obviously, idiot move. And the whole bucket of primer, like, recently refilled, splattered everywhere. And that was the only primer that we spilled, or paint, or anything that we spilled in that, 4-day renovation. And it was all me, so... Claim to fame, what can I say? We should, you know what? I'll find the picture. We can put it here. Because after, it was just me. Of course, it got all over my clothes, my shoes, everything. Kat got a picture of me just holding my paintbrush, like, covered in primer. So, I do understand not paying attention to things on surfaces that you're trying to move.
Yeah.
I get it. It's fine, I guess. All right, so besides Dunkin' not sponsoring us, what else is new?
Well... Today is Friday the 13th that we're recording.
Oh.
Which,
in fact, it is.
It's
did you see the rumors about Taylor's version of Reputation should come out on September 13th? I mean, we've been duped so many times now. So it obviously didn't happen.
Did you see her shout out Travis?
I did.
Oh, you didn't like it?
I mean, I think it's fine. I don't... I didn't see the whole thing. I did see the clip.
You're like, oh, boys.
Well, it's just like, how, I don't want to get into it, but this is not one of her longer relationships so far. Mm-hmm. And also, like, I don't say this in like a shame way, but she's had several boyfriends. Mm-hmm. And now I feel like because there's a lot of people rooting for this one and a lot of people saying it's fake and rooting against it, I felt like she only said that to like clear the air of like, that's my man, we're in a good spot. But whatever, it doesn't really matter, I guess. Like, did she ever shout out like boyfriends like that before?
No, people had been asking that. Like, she shouted out Joe, but she didn't say my boyfriend Joe.
Oh.
And then there's like all this controversy that like he never wanted to be called a boyfriend, and like, that's why she...
Classic. That's a classic toxic man move.
Yeah, that's why she...
It's like, I know we've been dating for several years. I know that you stay at my house several times a week, but
one
like,
of her songs says call it what you want. And like people
call
are like,
it
that's
what you want and call it what you want.
Yeah. So that's her being like, call it whatever you want, but like we're in a relationship.
Yeah, been there. Whoops. And that's just toxic.
Yeah. So
they'll be like, I don't want to label it.
Fuck you.
Okay. So yeah.
Yeah. What else?
Honestly, that's enough.
Okay.
We've been talking too much about our
Roll the clip.
Welcome to the show, Leigh Soucy.
That's right.
Which I love the last name.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much for coming.
Absolutely.
Leigh is the owner of the Thicket in Worcester.
That's right.
Tell us what that is.
The Thicket is a secondhand and vintage store that caters to people in bodies that are size large and up generally. We're exclusive in premise, but not in practice, so anybody's welcome to come in. Mm-hmm. I'm not judging anybody when they come through the door. It leans femme, but it's like open to anybody, but everything in there is secondhand. I try really hard to have it be a nice even mix of vintage and secondhand, but it depends on what's coming in the door. Yeah. I get lots of donations, so it's like a really community-driven and community serving shop. But it is a shop. It is a store to buy clothes and tchotchkes and to like find your vibe, hopefully. Yes.
Cute.
Yeah.
And so where are you located?
Sorry, I am upstairs from Acoustic Java at 3 Brussels Street.
You are?
Yes,
I told you. And although
you did, and I wasn't listening.
Yeah, that's true.
It's all good. Yeah, it's in a weird spot. Like down the hill from Holy Cross, I'm behind the old Rotmans. It's in that mill building where Acoustic is literally downstairs from me.
Okay.
Some days I open the door, it smells like coffee roasting.
That's amazing.
It's great.
You're like, I'll pay rent just for this.
Truly. And I've known Dave for a long time. Like I used to live not in the city, and I drive to the city to go to Acoustic when he still had a Main Street location, which is just to say, I feel like I'm in my own little community there too.
In fairness, when I was telling you the Thicket, it's in the Brussels Street, the brick building. I was like, she's right near Mrs. Morconi's, the new brewery, courthouse.
Courthouse is there.
In fairness, when I was referencing the building, I didn't say Acoustic Java.
Completely
I said
fair.
Every other business that's in there.
Right.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
So I guess you just weren't adding it up. That's
no,
fine
I love
too.
It's like a great place to like you could spend an afternoon. You go get your coffee, you can come shop, go get a beer, go grab some ice cream, head back home. Like
it's a whole thing.
Bing bang boom.
And when did you open there?
I opened the shop almost a year ago. I'm coming up to my year anniversary. November 11th, 11/11, because I made my own wish come true. I made the shop happen. Yeah. That's my whole thing is like, I'm going to stay soft and make my wish come true.
I'm not
That's
crying,
what I did.
you are.
Fair. I mean, if I think about it too much, I will also get emotional. But I've been a shop or been a business for about 2.5 years prior.
Oh,
so I did pop-ups and I ran it out of my basement.
Nice.
So this is way better. I have much better light. I have like real ceilings. It's beautiful. It's so nice.
When she walked in to tape the podcast, she goes, "You guys have windows."
I mean, it's amazing. Radio stations don't always. So I just assumed, I was like, oh, here we go into the bowels. But no, I am. Yeah. So anyway, I'm there and
there's windows.
Great. Beautiful windows.
Amazing.
Great natural light. It's great.
Definitely an upgrade from a basement.
100%. I mean, my basement's cool and kitschy, but not for shopping.
Yeah.
Like I'd had people come to shop at the basement, and they would have to be really brave. But I did offer it. I was like, hey, if we've met at a pop-up and you want to come and see the rest of my stuff.
I'm not a serial killer.
Exactly. I'm
It's
like,
the
I'll
type
give
of
you my
thing.
address.
I'm
Yeah.
just a
You-
normal person with a basement. It's
Yeah,
fine.
You just share
exactly.
your location before you go to the basement.
Yeah,
with,
exactly.
With your loved ones.
Exactly. And
Yes.
I would always be like, do we leave the door open? Like, how?
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, I am no longer in my basement. I am now at Brussels Street. Thank goodness.
Was it like a
Amazing.
really big leap
Yes.
to get a space?
Yes.
Yes.
100%.
Yeah.
I was not prepared. I had no idea what I was doing.
Yeah.
I still don't. We all don't, right?
Right.
But like my kiddo, I have a 6-year-old now, and he was starting kindergarten last fall, and I was like, I'm gonna take this fall and like soak in the last 5 years, because like I had a kid, it was 2 when the pandemic started,
Yeah. Oh,
and I was home,
Yeah.
so I was like Montessori momming it, like you know, I would just try to like, we'll do things that are enriching all day, every day, me and that boy. And so I thought I was gonna send him to school and like take my time to like grieve his babyhood. And I jokingly went to Acoustic one day. Like I went to Acoustic, saw Dave. He knows me, we were chit-chatting, and I jokingly said, any space upstairs for rent? And he was like, actually there's
there
one
is.
left. I was like, what? He's like, yeah, I'll let the landlord know. And I was like, wait, what? He's like, how much you want to pay? And like he helped me get in the door. So it's, you know, it's who you know sometimes.
Right.
And I never thought that would happen. I'd looked at places like with a dream, but not
Right.
like the ability to think I could do it.
Right.
And then I was able to like, my partner's super supportive, and we were able to make it happen within 2 months.
It's amazing.
It's really, really something.
Yeah.
I have
for
great
you.
friends, good people in my life that were super helpful.
Yeah.
So
Congratulations.
thank you.
Yeah.
So what was the inspiration? You talked about the inspiration for taking the leap to open the physical space, but
Yeah.
what was the inspiration in general for starting the Thicket?
Yeah. Okay. So I have been like, my website says like I'm a fat girl my whole life, and I have always thrifted. Like I thought myself to be like a punk rock kid when I was in high school. So I would like go to the thrift shop to find
Very-
like cool ironic T-shirts.
Very
and-
angsty teen of you.
Oh sure, I was pop punk girl. Let's be clear. I wish I was more punk, but I was from Manchester, New Hampshire. Like, it's okay. But I don't know. I just started thrifting early, especially because I felt like I had no options.
Right.
Like I could go to Sears or JCPenney and Fashion Bug.
Yeah.
Like those are it.
Oh my
Imagine.
God, Fashion Bug.
Truly.
What a throwback.
I know everybody says that, but you know what? Now when I find it and I'm sourcing, I always grab it because everybody's like, "My old friend,
Yeah.
like we've forgotten about you, and
Yeah.
here you are still kicking." Like a lot of their pieces are much better quality than stuff you
bet.
can get now.
Yeah.
Anyway,
For
which is a
sure.
whole other thing, but I just hit a wall where I was like, I am so tired of trying to feel like I need to fit into some box that I will never fit in. When I was about like 2017, so like right after, like before I was pregnant, I think, I started a group for like Worcester area fatties, like Worcester area fat folks, just for like anybody I knew that was comfortable enough to like own their body,
Yeah.
own their stuff. And I just tried to do clothing swaps with those folks and like share doctor recommendations or like, hey, there's a sale this week at Torrid, get in there, everything's on clearance. Like
Yeah.
that was the main
Yeah.
gist of this page. And I started doing swaps at my house, usually with like 4 or 5 people, not
Yeah.
many, most
Yeah.
of my friends. But then my first swap during the pandemic, so like I took a break, and the first one I hosted was in my backyard in like 2021. And my friend of mine showed up with 3 garbage bags of brand new clothing. She had bought over the pandemic because she like worked from home, has no kids, like has a disposable income. So she could just like try a bunch of stuff and
Yeah.
didn't send it back. 3 garbage bags
Yeah.
of brand new clothes, gowns, like dresses
Yeah.
for weddings, like work attire, so much stuff. Thousands of dollars worth of clothing.
Oh my gosh.
And even she was like, I brought this to this swap because I don't just want to put it in a Savers bin. I
Yeah.
don't want to just drop it off and it gets shipped across
Yeah.
to who knows where and to get thrown away and ruined. Because I've recognized now that like, because it's so hard to find good clothes,
Right.
like bigger bodied people kind of
Right.
covet their clothing a little more. We become really attached. I'm sure everybody has clothes that matter to them,
Yeah.
but because it's so hard and there's so few options,
Yeah.
I feel like the folks that I know that are in bigger bodies like will hoard until they know I was hosting a swap.
Yeah.
And so I jokingly had said at this swap, I was like, I should start a store. And they were all like, no, really, Leigh, you should start a store. And I was like, I don't know how to start a store. Like, capitalism, like that's not my game. I don't know. I come from like higher ed. I come come from like education world, so I was like, no. But I joked and like went with it, and I like off the cuff was like, haha, could be called the Thicket. And like my 4 or 5 friends were like, no, for real, please do that.
Yeah.
No, but actually.
I know, and like so I had a good group of people who were
Yeah.
like rooting me on right from the jump, like from the jokey idea.
Right.
My hairdresser and friend was the person who really was like, oh, you're gonna do this. Like I remember
Yeah.
telling her about it in 2021 and her being like, no, this is incredible. Do
Yeah.
the thing.
Yeah.
Like tell me how I can help you. And it's just been like off to the races since. So it's like filling a gap that I felt existed,
Yes.
but also like meeting a need. Like I don't think we should be throwing our clothes away.
Right.
Like I'm a thrifter. Like I love getting stuff secondhand. It's already worn in. You've already like gotten all the like kinks out of it on a certain level, right? Like
Yeah.
people have replaced buttons. Like stuff that's lasted will continue lasting usually.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just better quality stuff a lot of the time. And if it's not, it's cute and it's like not have it. I like source and curate and pull it all together to cut out the experience of shame
Right.
at any store
Right.
that most women or anybody in a bigger body would feel. Because like when you go into a Savers, it's so big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I get a lot of folks who come through and they're like, oh, I like thrifting with you because Savers, I never find anything good.
Right.
And people say that because they don't have the like unlimited time that I had.
Yeah.
Like when I started sourcing, like literally going out and buying things for the Thicket, I had my 3 and 4-year-old with me,
Yeah.
and he'd just go play in the toy section of
Yeah.
the Savers while I was like
Yeah,
frantically
yeah.
pawing through, right?
Yeah.
And so now I've gotten a
fine
pretty
tooth comb. Just
Yeah.
Because I've been to a Savers maybe once.
wild, really.
And and I was so overwhelmed.
It's an overwhelming
I was
experience.
like, you
yeah.
get through one rack, you're like, I need a nap.
They're so much bigger than like the thrift stores of my youth. Like it is
Yeah.
a whole thing, but it's like treasure trove.
Yeah.
And if you like to treasure hunt, like I don't know, I grew up
That
with
feels like
yeah,
so fun to me.
it is very fun.
Yeah.
The high you must get from finding
gosh,
like
yes.
the find.
Yes, and
What-
like yeah, go ahead.
What
Sorry.
are no? I want to like tap into that more because like,
Yeah.
what are some of the best things you've ever like found that you're like, yes?
Well, and so I thought about this actually because I was like, what am I going to share as like my grail? In the world, we call it like you find a grail or what is your grail? What's your
Okay.
holy grail that you're looking
Yeah.
for that's
Yeah.
vintage or whatever? I realize I don't have like a specific thing. What it is though is constantly like leveling up of like,
Oh, yeah.
I found like, oh my God, I found some denim that's like size 24, 26, like for much bigger bodies.
Yeah.
And then like also finding stuff that is just like fits a niche that I'm so desperately trying to fill, like
Yeah.
sweaters or whatever. But truly, for me, I'm always looking for like 80s Brat Pack stuff, but like original. If I'm honest, I'm
Yeah.
like I came of age in the late 90s, early aughts.
Yeah.
So I'm like a Brat Pack girly. I love
Yeah.
Molly Ringwald and like Pretty in Pink was a huge inspiration to me, literally. But so anytime I can find stuff that is like 80s, like just 80s stuff is my stuff. It's like
Yeah.
my jam. I joke sometimes on my Instagram where I'm like, I love Kimmy Gibbler core. I love like DJ Tanner and Kimmy Gibbler are like 2 of my
Amazing.
fashion icons.
Yeah.
For better or worse, it's
Wait,
what
I
makes
love
me
that.
happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, like they're my muses. Cyndi Lauper, Molly Ringwald, those are my people.
Just like joyous.
Yes,
joyous,
give me
yeah.
the whimsy. Like,
Yeah.
God, like, I love a sleek, beautiful white place. Like, you know, you go into like some
Right,
bakeries now,
right.
everything is like subway tile,
yeah.
chic, beautiful.
How they've been the world is turning gray.
Yes.
They call
and
that
like-
millennial gray.
Yeah, and I'm a millennial, and god dang, I'm sorry. Like, I don't know what
I
we
know.
have done.
All the buildings are turning gray and
It's-
brown. They're taking the color out of the world.
Yep, and it feels a little tragic to me.
Yeah.
As somebody who just like, again,
As
when
someone who showed up in a bright red skirt and
Yes.
was like, I'm here.
Yes, because I just don't. I think I hit a point, and this is where like I also like the shop is great for me and for like I hope others is that like it gives me an opportunity to like play up and lean in to maybe like an outfit that I wouldn't like just wear casually.
Yeah.
But I'm like, oh no, I'm gonna like remind everybody that they all have permission to do whatever they want.
Right.
Yeah.
And like I can do that, and I don't feel like I don't know. It's like a small thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's a huge thing because a lot of people don't ever feel that comfort.
Right.
And I'm like desperate to
Right.
make that a reality for people who come through the door.
I remember going through in college. It was when I was in college. Galaxy leggings were the thing.
They sure were. Boy, do I see them at the thrift all the time.
And I remember like going through that leggings phase and
Yes.
like loving them, but then I'd wear them and the stairs, and I immediately like would clam up and be like, oh, I don't know. It's
too loud, too bright,
yeah,
yeah.
I appreciate like I don't know, the support and like
Yeah.
like trying to make people feel like it's okay to wear the things that make you feel happy and like are
Oh, for
exciting.
sure. I'm like a
you know?
huge fan of dopamine dressing or
Yeah.
like, because like it's too, like the world is like on fire half
Right,
the time.
right.
Like if the little thing
It's
you
true,
can
though.
do for yourself is just to like look in the mirror and be like, that's fun. Like
Yeah.
it's like the least you can do for yourself. And
I love
just
that term, dopamine dressing.
it's real.
Did you come up with it?
No, I did
Oh.
not. There's plenty of
It wouldn't
creators.
surprise me if you did.
I
though.
wish. No, there's a couple great creators that I follow who are like, if Lisa Frank was like embodied in like everything, like there's people who like their whole houses are like that, which is incredible.
Yes.
Like this vibe of like
Yes.
eggs and pink and
Yes.
squiggles and anyway.
Yeah.
It's great. It's like it's fun to be whimsical,
It
and I
is.
feel like it can still be practical and like fulfill the needs of like dressing yourself.
It's interesting, like, my mom, love her to death, but she would always say stuff about, like, oh, like, you know, people will go to the grocery store in sweatpants. Like, come on, put on some real clothes or
Yeah.
whatever. And I think kind of like our generation was like, well, wear what you want. Like, if that's what you're comfortable in, you're
Yes.
running errands, like, do what
Yes.
you want. But then there's also this other part of us that's like, also, if you want to dress up just for fun, if you
Yes.
want to wear, like,
Right.
some
Yes.
bright dress and fun coat and whatever, like, do that too.
100%.
Wear the sweatpants one day, wear the dress the next
You've
day. It
said
doesn't really
that.
matter.
To me before when I was like, well, I like to go out and go co-working and go do that stuff. 'cause
Oh,
I like
that's
to get
right.
dressed up. And
She
you were
said I
like,
like-
just get dressed up.
Yeah, why not?
It's because we were talking about co-working, and I said I
Yes.
don't like it because I want to focus on my stuff. And she says, well, I think the main reason I like it is because
Helps you get up and go.
it gets me out of the house and I
Yes.
get dressed up. And I said to her, you know, you don't have to work to do those things.
Yeah, but it's hard. We are so hardwired
Yeah.
in so many ways, and like a huge yes to all of that. And I feel like one of the things I say in the shop a lot, because people will like try on like these sequency numbers.
Oh, yeah.
And we'll be like, I love this,
When
what
am
would
I
I
gonna
wear
wear
it
it?
to?
I don't have anything to
And I'm
wear.
like, wear it, and the occasion has to rise to you.
Yeah.
Like I think we frame everything from such this like negative space, and maybe I'm too positive for my own good. That's not true. I try though. I try to emit that as much as I
Yes.
can. But like, why not you just change that framing to being like, instead of showing up and feeling out of place, you're gonna go in there and be like, oh, nobody has matched my vibe.
Right.
Like nobody's on my level, and
Yeah.
they can wish.
Yeah.
Like why not?
I love that.
Like I don't know. I think that, and giving especially people in bodies that are often made to like, I don't know, you guys like exist in this world. Fat phobia is like, the way I think about it, and I saw recently, was like being in an ocean and trying to dry off is like living in our society and trying to like get rid of this deprogram it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's just so ingrained. Like all that comment from your mom is like very similar to many I heard from my mom.
Right.
And also just about like what is flattering versus what's
Right.
not, and like
Right.
who cares?
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
it makes you happy. And like I also follow lots of like regular, I
Yeah.
feel like I do a lot of stuff that any other person would do to
Yeah.
like feel like they get put together. But maybe that's not my like the speed for everybody, and they shouldn't. I don't know. I feel like we should make space for all the different people.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
all. I don't know.
Yeah.
Period.
The end. That's it. Just make space for everybody.
I like that you touched upon, you know, like all that deep rooted, like, you know,
Yes.
because when we grew up with like the 2000s models that were just
Yes.
like starving, like
Truly,
like outwardly
heroin chic. It
yes.
was a vibe.
Yes.
like Kate Moss was like an ideal. Like
Yeah.
we watched Tyra Banks like critique people's
Hillary
bodies.
Duff was too fat.
It's insane to me. Exactly. And,
And
if
then-
that woman is too
Oh my
fat,
God.
Yeah.
America Ferrera being like the chubby one
Yes.
in the sisterhood of the traveling
Yes.
pants.
Exactly. Exactly.
What?
And so like that was my formative years. Like I was in
Oh,
middle
yeah.
school when Britney Spears became a thing.
Yeah.
And so
Right.
all of a sudden like women's bodies were like, it was taught to me that like women are supposed to be digestible and frankly are only valuable if they can be sexualized.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's like, what if they're just not fitting that mold and there's like
Yeah.
no space?
And can I just say too, then we grow up and now in recent years, it's like, oh, the dad bod is so hot. So
And,
men get it easy.
It's true.
And men also are hot if they've got gray hair
Yup.
or like salt and pepper
Yes.
hair, and
Yeah.
they've got like smile lines,
Yeah.
whereas a woman cannot have gray hair.
Yeah.
And cannot have any wrinkles on
Oh,
her
yeah.
face at all.
There's all these rules.
Yeah.
And like who dictated them?
Yeah.
It's capitalism.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm not. I run a store.
And the patriarchy.
And the patriarchy, but truly, like all these ways to like make money off the
Yeah.
backs of like vulnerable young women
Right.
Seriously.
is
Right.
like the thing, and I am very not interested in that.
Yeah.
And in fact, I'm like, no, please let your freak flag fly and like come find something here that makes you feel like you can own that outwardly
Yeah.
in the world. yeah, like I just don't think there's any, I don't know. I'm raising a child, so I think I really am like
Yeah.
deep in it too, because
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't want my kid to feel hemmed in
Yeah.
by rules that don't matter.
Yeah.
They're not real.
Yeah.
I feel the same. I have a 3-year-old son. and
Yeah,
it's like,
you get it. It's
I want to raise him to be a good man, to be
Yeah.
like respectful.
absolutely.
Like, you know,
Yes.
it's interesting. It's an interesting world to be living in and trying to raise the next generation. and-
Exactly, because
Right.
I'm like, okay, there's bits and pieces like I get, like I feel like my work ethic, I'm really pleased, like I'm glad I have it and was glad it was given to me, but also like I like that we give my kid a chance to like be upset if he's
Yeah.
upset about something and like, or like to dress with how he wants to wear. Like
Yeah.
yesterday, he literally, I'll show you before I leave, he wore like a lounge suit that looks like he was like in Hawaii wearing like a volcano lounge suit, shorts and top that match.
love it.
A fellow vintage person I know gifted it to me for him.
Cute.
But like he wore it to school and he was like, I got all the compliments. I was like, yeah, I bet you did.
I love it.
His outfit is loud, but yeah, like wear what you want.
Yeah.
It's like that's it. Again, the end. I
Yeah.
just want people to feel comfortable and happy
I know.
in their bodies.
It's kind of wild, right? Like my son will wear a friendship bracelet because he loves them. And then his cousin, who's 4, she'll be like, why is he wearing a bracelet? And I'm like, how does she already?
It's
Yeah.
so ingrained.
Yeah.
It's so ingrained.
amazing to
Yeah.
me. It's
And it's the shame because like that really, it's like all these rules, like I talk a lot about in my like little corner of the world. I feel like I talk a lot about like fat phobia and like deprogramming and like dopamine dressing, right? And all these things. But like that stuff, like the fat phobia and like the patriarchy, like it hurts the people who benefit are also kind of being hemmed in too.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I think so much about how like I have a lot of my friends are straight-sized women, like they're not in plus-size clothing.
Yeah.
But they are people who are capable of talking with me through this morass of
Yes.
nonsense and like trying to find middle grounds of like, oh yeah, this sucks for both of us, even though like you can go to the mall and find plenty of options.
Right.
And I can't. It doesn't mean that I don't know. I feel like we're all on the same team, but we act like we're not.
Yeah.
And I know that I sometimes can probably be a proponent of that too, but it comes from like feeling really frustrated a lot of
Yeah.
my life.
Yeah.
And like not like and that's not like righteous anger because I don't think it's helpful to
Right.
let that hold me from like seeing eye to eye with people who are different.
Yeah.
But also it's very real.
Yeah.
And so this whole conversation kind of leads to, I was poking around on your website in preparation for this, of course.
Yeah.
And you talk about how the Thicket, yes, it's a clothes store,
Yes.
but it's also like way more about the clothes. It's about the
Yes.
community.
Yes.
And as you've said, you started in your basement.
Yeah.
You started doing pop-ups.
Yep.
You've done clothes swaps with friends, which
Yep.
now that you have the store in the physical location have become bigger. They've
Yes.
become more
Much
official
bigger.
events.
Yes. Yes.
And you're turning 1 year old this store.
Yes.
So exciting. What is your goals, your dreams, your hopes for the future of the Thicket, knowing that it's not just about buying clothes?
Yeah. Gosh, I would love like I joke sometimes with my partner, I'm like, I really just want to make it like a community closet where people can like take a piece, go, like that's a big dream because like
Right.
it needs to sustain itself
Right,
somehow.
right.
But I have thought about like what are ways I could do this without needing to be so like thoughtful about the like money bit because I
Yeah.
do think that the money bit kind of like stands in the way sometimes of the community building. But like I've hosted yoga in my shop already, like bigger bodied yoga, so that way like people who want to try it but don't feel comfortable going to
Yeah,
a regular
safe
space
space.
can feel comfortable. I hosted a burlesque workshop this past February with a local burlesque performer, Lady LaRouge. She's great. But like having space, like using that space, like the beauty of it is that it's just a big box, and all of my racks are on wheels, so I can just push everything out of the way
yeah.
and do stuff. Like this October, we're gonna be doing some like craft your Halloween costume at the shop because I have like a bargain bin at all times, like really cheap stuff that people could literally just take and like rip apart. And
Yeah.
I'll have a hot glue gun if you want to try to make whatever outfit you're going for. And I feel like giving people space to connect, like that, I think is the biggest piece. Is like I want the shop to be not like a networking space, but like a community space for people in bigger bodies. One of the things that got me confident enough to do a shop, like to do this, was that I did a pop-up market down in Providence called Little City Thrifty. And the organizers were really thoughtful and they went out of their way to have like a set of people who did what I do. So there was 5 of us, like plus size vendors, and it just changed, it literally changed my life. Because being in community with people who have felt the same feelings as you, and like I had never felt that because I'm always the fat friend,
Right.
which is it's my lot. It's fine. But being in community with other people, like you probably like everybody should have this experience of being with people who like get their struggle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is just so like ground shaking and
Yeah.
like it just changed my life. And so I really would love to make more opportunities for that. So like sip and shop events, more yoga, more like workshops of different kinds. My dream would be to also have like a person on my staff that does like alterations because like people often
Right.
find things that work in some ways,
Right.
but not the others.
Well, and that's what's hard too with shopping plus size, I think, is
Yes.
that it's not in the shops. So you have to
No.
buy online, but then it's all sized differently.
Oh, 100%.
So
yes.
yeah, having the alterations
Yes.
is a great idea because
Yep.
you kind of don't really know what you're going to
Exactly.
get.
And I've been starting to partner more with the Burncoat Center for Arts and Wellness.
Yeah.
Kim and Babs over there are great. And Kim is like a sewist by trade, I believe. And I've talked with her about doing some like very bare bones like sewing lessons. So that way people can feel empowered and like hem their own pants.
Yeah.
Dart their own shirt if it like fits funny or
Yeah.
like whatever. I just think that so like skill sharing definitely is a thing that I see in the future. I would love a slightly bigger space that has storage on site. Right now my storage is in a building next door, which is fine. But I would love to be able to, when somebody
Yeah.
comes in, they're like, I know it's really early, but I want to start thinking about prom. I'm not like, let me go to the storage unit and I'll get back to you in a few days.
Right.
I would love to be able to have more space, but yeah, I have like a 900 square foot space already. I'm very lucky.
Yeah.
But anyway, I feel like, yeah, my real dream is like more community hub. I've been trying to figure out ways that could, like all the different ways that I see community coming together around sustainability and inclusivity, like those two things. So it's constantly evolving, but really there's a place in Providence called The Nest, and they are a great model. Like they do thrift, and they have a whole second floor of like workshops on how to do hemming, how to do sewing and upcycling and stuff like that. So I'd love if we could do that, but like with an eye to folks in bigger bodies, just to give folks a place to go and learn and
Yeah.
feel really seen and really thought of first,
Yeah.
as opposed to being an afterthought.
Right.
So like that's always kind of the like controlling purpose is like, well, I want this to really work for fat people. I want this to really be good for bigger bodied folks. But then anybody else can be included if they are like down with the cause. You know?
Yeah, yeah.
Like, yeah. That's my main thing.
I love it.
Awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
So that's amazing. And also the Thicket as it is now.
Yes.
How can people come and shop with you? How can they find you online?
Yeah, I am-
What are their options?
I am
here?
at Thicket Worcester on Instagram. Thicketworcester.com is a website. It's there. I admittedly,
I love the way you said that.
you know,
that's me.
I'm a millennial gal. So like I am on Instagram, and that is the way that I
Yeah.
feel like I share the most.
Yeah.
That's fair.
I feel like I get lots of like folks who are older than me finding me from the website and like Google searching.
Right.
If they heard of me, they'll like Google me or they'll Google the shop. But then mostly I feel like Instagram is where is my bread and butter. It's
Yeah.
how I'm interacting with folks.
Right.
People can message. I check my requests every day. I get messages every day of like, hey, I saw you post this thing and there was this dress. Can you tell me what size that dress is? Like, I'm happy to do that as I'm small enough right now
Right,
to do
right.
that. I mean, it may not always be that way. But anyway, at Thicket Worcester on Instagram. I'm also on TikTok, but I don't use it enough for the shop. I just fall down a rabbit hole scrolling like
Yeah.
everybody
Don't
does.
we all?
Yeah, but so I'm really an Instagram girly apparently. And I'm hoping to host another clothing swap this fall. If not this fall, we will definitely have one in partnership with Abby's House in the city.
Okay.
In the winter months, so probably in like January or February. So those are all open to the public. Is my hope is to start making them fully open to the public. Sometimes there might be registration depending on if it's indoors or outdoors, just because of space capacity. But yeah, so people can come and find me that way. We have hours usually every week, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday at the shop where we're open. Occasional Sundays. I announce my monthly hours every month on Instagram. So
Nice.
I think that's covering most of my
Yeah.
bases. Yeah.
And we like to always end every episode
yeah.
giving guests the opportunity to shout out other women-owned businesses,
Perfect.
women in business.
Yeah.
Who do you have for us?
Well, I mentioned earlier my hairdresser, but Carissa Clearwater, she runs Rat's Nest. It's over on Grove Street.
That's
Isn't
an
that great?
amazing name.
Yes.
What?
She has just been like a mentor to me and an incredible friend and a huge help to me getting this business going. So I have to like give her
Yeah.
my props.
Awesome.
She's great.
Amazing.
Carissa Clearwater.
Love
That's
it.
it's
Rat's
same
nest.
like with my hairdresser. I remember talking to her about like starting freelancing, and she's like, literally start a business,
Right?
Like she's like, anyone can do it.
Well,
Do
and
it.
that's what was really helpful is like having somebody not. I come from higher ed, like I ran
Right.
dorms for 10 years
Right.
before I left and did all this other stuff. And having somebody who was so familiar with business stuff because she's been cutting hair for most of her adult life.
Yeah.
Right.
She was just like, oh no, they make it seem way more complicated than it is.
Right.
Like I'll help you.
Yeah.
And so she's just been like the best help I could have asked for.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And she's great. She's a
Yeah.
great
Yeah.
time.
I love it.
that. Love having the community of support.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm so lucky to have that, especially like the city has been nothing but that.
Yeah.
So, yay.
Well, thank you so much.
No problem.
Thank
Thank
you for
you.
coming on and supporting our podcast.
100%.
Yes.
So glad you're doing it.
Thank
Yeah.
you so much.
Of course. Thank you.
Heart it or hate it?
Heart it or hate it?
Heart it or hate it, buffalo chicken dip.
Heart it.
Oh, thank God.
1000%.
Thank you, God. Okay, good.
So good.
So good. I've been on a buffalo. So, my friend Katie Cameron, who may or may not be watching or listening, she doesn't like podcasts, so I try not to give her some. She posted a story about like me thinking about buffalo chicken dip. This was like a week ago, and I saw the story, and I was like, "Well, shoot! Now I'm thinking about buffalo
Yep.
chicken dip."
Yep.
So I've been thinking about it for a week and a half now. So I went and I bought the pre-made one at Shaw's, which like it's a cold dip.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, no, it's so much better when it's like hot and it's
Yeah.
homemade.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, this satisfies it a little bit. And then Monday night we had an event, and the restaurant that we were at had like a lot of buffalo chicken options, like a buffalo chicken pizza and a
Yeah.
buffalo chicken like hot sandwich. So I got the hot sandwich, and like, you know, it was a buffalo chicken sandwich, and
So
that's
close.
good.
But
But I just wanted like a really good buffalo chicken dip.
honestly, that's one of my favorite parts about football season. is
Okay.
Buffalo chicken dip.
Yeah. Well,
That's it.
obviously you're not in it for the football. So.
No.
And who would be? Who would be when there's so many good snacks?
Yeah. I'm here for the snacks.
Obviously. Okay, good. We're both on Heart It.
We
Next,
Heart it or hate it? Threads. The app.
the app. I don't have it. I had Twitter. As you know, I was a big Twitter girl.
were a big
for
tweeter.
over a decade.
Yeah.
And then they ruined it.
They did.
And then Instagram came out with Threads in response to that, and
Yeah.
I just couldn't do it.
So I'm gonna say Heart It,
Okay.
which is a brand new thing.
Okay.
I got it like a long time ago, hadn't been using it. I started using it for my book Instagram account. So like my Threads.
Oh, well, that makes
book one.
sense.
Because it's like active
Words.
there.
Yeah.
Like a lot of like the readers and the writers are on there. So
Yeah.
I'm on there. And then one of my Threads, tweets, posts.
What is it actually called?
I don't
Is a singular post a thread?
I don't know.
And then it's threads?
I don't know.
Okay. You should
But-
look into that before you heart it so much.
It.
Heart it? You don't even know it. I'm just kidding.
I did a post that got really popular, and it's got
good.
like hundreds of comments.
Wait, so this was your way of like bragging that you're cyber popular or something?
Just another app that I'm going viral on, as per usual.
How about make money off of it and then come back and
I
and
know.
tell me?
I know.
Then come back, give it to the podcast, and I'll be, worshiping the ground you walk on or whatever.
Okay,
So I guess I'm hated because I'm not on it.
and I'm gonna heart it because people like me.
Okay. What's that like? Can't relate. Yeah, I don't know. I suppose it's not fair. With a lot of these, as we talk about like weekly, I feel like if I haven't tried it or if I don't have it or if I don't know about it, then
Yeah.
I can't actually say hate it truthfully, but I also can't say heart it truthfully.
I will say I miss the old
The
Twitter.
old Twitter? Yeah, for sure.
Because I didn't really use Twitter that much, but when I was watching the debate this week, because when we're recording this, the debate was this
Yeah,
week.
yeah.
And like that's what I used to use Twitter for. Was
Yeah,
for
oh,
the
yeah.
live updates of debates. And I'm like, hello, people.
I would say my news consumption has gone down significantly since the
Yeah.
death of Twitter, and also since I left my job that was like heavy involved in news
Right.
in the city. I
Right.
was like, I don't want to hear about any of you people or any of these things
Yeah.
for a good long time.
Yeah. Fair.
So, yeah.
Okay. What's next?
Good question. I don't remember. Oh, heart it or hate it, sneaker heels.
Hate it.
Okay. Why? You don't wear them? You don't have them?
I've never worn them. I
Okay.
don't have an interest in getting them. I should want to because I'm short. I don't know.
I have one pair. And I just like that they're kind of like, I mean, they're casual, don't get me wrong. But it's also like, they're not casual like regular sneakers.
Elevated.
Yeah, they're
Casual.
like an elevated casual, like not gym sneakers.
Yeah.
They're obviously nicer. Like, I would wear them, I don't know. I say night out.
out on like a fall activity.
yeah, like, or just whatever. Not anything, like, I'm not about to argue that they're dressy, but like, you know, a casual event where I'm not trying to wear like ratty gym sneakers or like dirty Converse or something.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm not really much of like a sneaker person. Like,
Yeah.
I'll wear sneakers because obviously people wear sneakers, but like if I'm putting an outfit together, it's usually like boots or
Right.
something
Which is
else.
like, I feel like I can mix it up with some sneaker
Yeah.
heels. So anyways, I have a pair of gray ones and I love them and they're comfortable. And I'm excited that it's getting cooler now so I can wear them again.
It's great.
So I'm going to go hurt it. Got a little something here.
Is it one of my hair? It's
Of
probably
course
mine.
it is.
I shed
Obviously
like
it's
crazy.
yours. Who else's would it be?
The man that made my drink.
No, well, you've been drinking. I would have noticed it before. I'm also shedding like crazy. Girl problems. Okay, well, I went with hard it. You went with hate it. Okay, give us our last one.
Harder or hate it, apple picking.
I cannot even tell you the last time I went apple picking. It's gotta be a decade at this point. Like, at
Really?
least. Yeah, I don't.
Do you do like fall-ish things?
I don't
Go
know,
get your
I'm-
pumpkins. Go get
No,
your
not
apples.
really.
What's wrong with you?
I'm just not. I don't know. Like, also the thing about apple picking is you have to like, if I remember correctly, and also it might be dependent on different places, but you would have to buy like this size bag or this size bag.
Yeah, you have to like apples.
And I'm like, okay, so I'm going apple picking for like the aesthetic,
Right.
for the activity part.
Right.
I don't need 30 apples in my
Right.
singular household.
Right. Yes, the last time I went apple picking, I did make an apple pie. which
Right, so that's the thing.
I don't
is,
like apple pie, but I just needed...
apple crisp is better. Hands down.
But I wanted to post a picture of my... It's all about the aesthetic. So I made this beautiful apple pie, and then I think I gave it to my dad.
That's nice of you.
Yeah.
But yeah, you have to find like at least 3 recipes for apples, especially like, you know, for me, I live alone.
Right.
So I'd have to be like, here's an apple pie for you. Here's an apple crisp for you. I'm going to chop up some apples and put them in a salad. I'm going to have some apples with peanut butter. And it's just like, chill. But I feel like if you have a big family or something, maybe you could get rid of 30 apples like pretty easily. But yeah, so I guess hate it. I just like, it's not my first, it's not the first activity I would choose.
Hate is a strong word.
Hate
but
is a strong word, but we use it literally every week. So on this podcast.
I'll go with heart it.
Have you gone this year? Are you going? with
I
Jamie?
think we're going to go with Jamie. He doesn't like apples, but I think he'll like...
the experience.
The experience.
The best part about apple picking, at least where I used to go several thousand years ago, was the hayride that they take you on.
Yeah.
I like that part.
Yeah.
And nothing quite like sitting on an uncomfortable bale of hay being pulled by a tractor. Really brings me back to my country roots.
Your country roots.
Those are my country roots. Yep.
Okay. Well, that's what we got.
That's about it.
Thanks for watching.
Thank you
to...
Studio 50. Wow, we were going to say the same thing. I thought you were going to forget, so I was going to say it.
I always forget.
Thanks to Studio 50 for
Not
hosting
today.
us
Yes.
in downtown Worcester.
Yes.
And we will be back next week. Make sure you subscribe on all the different streaming services where you can find us, which I'll forget all 5 of them. But give me a shot. YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio,
Yes.
Amazon Music.
Yes.
I'm embarrassed. Shut it down.
Bye.
What if my baby sounds like a daydream walking with a hiss? I'm the one he's walking to. Now I'm gonna have to listen to that song.
So call it
What you want, babe? Call it what you want. I gotta listen to that when we leave. Dab on him like the usual dab.
If I start a TikTok for us for funsies.
Sure. Welcome to Girls Just Wanna. Follow us on TikTok. Bye.